life, baby. Mug life, baby. Yeah, we rockin' the booth. We mugging for life. We mugging for truth. Smaulgld here, and he's spitting the facts about the pumper community and the way that they act. We mugging for life. We ain't playing the games. We all know the lies and we all know the names. Come on. Mugging for life. Mugging for life. Smaulgld.
Hello and welcome to another Smaulgld live stream. It is Monday the 18th of March 2019 and I'm back after relinquishing the reins of the Smaulgld live stream to Seamus McGee, who handled the mic duties last night for St. Patrick's Day. I think he did a decent job. I think he lost his place a couple of times, but other than that, I think he was did very well. All right, well tonight's topic is college tuition under fire. The Trump administration proposes a student loan cap. We're going to go into some detail about college financing and the impacts of this potential rule change on college financing. Of course, we're going to discuss Bernie's, and college should be free for everybody. We're going to discuss that as well. We've also got some crypto stories on Backed, ErisX, and Fidelity. There's a new CNN poll out on the presidency and the economy with some surprising results. And we've got some interesting media moronica coming up later on in the show. But stick around because we're going to get into that college tuition discussion. But first, let's take a look at what's going on in the world of gold, silver, equities, and cryptocurrencies. So the equity markets were up again. Not too bad, not too shabby, getting back close to 26,000 on the Dow Jones, to 25,914. That was up 65 points. Not a big gain, quarter percentage gain, but a gain nonetheless. NASDAQ at 77.14, that's up 0.34%, or 25.95%. That was the biggest gain of note. S&P edged out the NASDAQ at a 0.37% gain, up 10 points at 28.32. Now, over on the gold and the silver markets, the gold price, not much of a gain, 52 cents it looks like, pretty much flat all day, and it closed at 1302.65. It's currently at 1303, but holding above that $1,300 mark. Silver, a little bit of a contradiction in the pricing here between my charts and Kitco. Silver, according to my charts, went down just a little bit, down about 3 cents at 15.24. Kitco has it at 15.31. Pretty much flat, but my numbers show it down a little bit. Gold silver ratio, according to my charts, still above 85:1. If you took the Kitco numbers, you might get to 84.8, 84.9, not quite sure. But the gold silver ratio solidly above 85:1, despite what Bix Weir wishes it to be. Okay, despite what this guy thinks. This guy being me. Anybody who wants to criticize my analysis, which I will put up against anyone else's predictions and analysis, calls me this guy. And by the way, this guy you can now get, and this is a great deal, this guy t-shirts and mugs are on sale. But the mugs are the big selling point tonight, because a this guy mug, check this out, you can get for 50% off the $18.95 price tonight only. This guy mugs tonight only. I will give you the link right now. If you're interested in a this guy mug or any Smaulgld mug, this is the one to get, and to get it now. They always say in sales you have to create the urgency to buy. Well, nothing can create the urgency to buy better than a 50% off. Ends today, $18.95. You do have to pay shipping when you order them from this link from Zazzle, but that is a tremendous price. You're getting it for under $10 plus shipping, and this is the one that says this guy. So there's the link there. I put the link over there. If you're watching this video, today is, it's only going to be good today. Today is Monday, the 18th of March 2019. Some of you I know are going to be bummed out. You're going to watch this tomorrow morning. I know many of the Smaulgld mug stackers and game changers cannot come to the show live. They don't even watch it that same evening. They watch it the next day. I know they're going to be bummed. But you can still buy this guy mug tomorrow. It won't be 50% off. It'll still be reasonably priced. There might even be a 15% discount tomorrow. But this guy mugs are available now at 50% off. I've leavened you. That's what they should say instead of left. They should say leavened. I leavened you the link for you to check it out. So check out this guy mug. Also, this guy t-shirts are now available. They are 15% off. And these are attractive. On the back, it says this guy with the Smaulgld S. That's under $20 tonight only. No, actually, this one looks like the 15% off will be beyond today. Monday Fun Day is the code. And this shirt also on the front has the Smaulgld logo. Comes in black and white. And if you're interested, please check that out. All right, now we did the gold, we did the silver. Let's check out the cryptos. Remember, this guy t-shirt and this guy mugs, they are available. I'm going to put the mug back up just so you have it drilled into your head that this is the day to get the Smaulgld this guy mug. It's just like the classics. It's a super classic mug that I sell from my site for $23.99. Now, with the Smaulgld super classic mug, you generally get the 2-day shipping. We always get the 2-day shipping. I ship them the next day, and oftentimes I put in a Smaulgld Game Changer eraser and even send a personal note. This one will not come with a Game Changer eraser or personal note, but will come with this guy on the back. And you can see all the different versions to the left of the Smaulgld logo. Very attractive mug. So please, have at it. Now, oh, I got to give you the link also if you want the shirt. I mean, when you end up in the store from these mugs, you'll see it, but I'm going to leave you the link for the shirt, for this guy t-shirt. You can buy both. Be a big hit with this guy t-shirt and the Smaulgld this guy mug. All right. Now, let's take a look at the crypto prices as we see them. So, looks like a bit of a movement today, late in the day on Bitcoin. Bitcoin at 39.73 according to Coinbase, up 0.12%. Litecoin at 59.11. That's down from yesterday. It peaked over $61, $62. It's down 2%. Bcash continues to rise at 158.69, up 3%. And Ethereum, as I heard Seamus last night call it, he said Ethereum is priced right now at 137.26. That is essentially flat. All right. I hope you guys have gone over and ordered. If not, copy that link for after the show, or you can order it while you're listening. If you can multitask, that would be a good thing. Now let's take a look at some of these crypto stories. Now a lot of people are wondering about Bakkt. For those of you who don't know what Bakkt is a consortium between Intercontinental Exchange, or ICE, which owns the New York Stock Exchange, and they are in consortium with Microsoft, Starbucks, and the Boston Consulting Group. And their idea is to create this one-stop mega place for cryptocurrency, starting with Bitcoin, where they offer a Bitcoin future. And in that Bitcoin future, you can have it physically delivered and also stored at Bakkt. And then they are working on a way of converting your Bitcoin into fiat so that it can be spent at places like Starbucks. This is supposedly a big thing because it's a huge endorsement when you have the New York Stock Exchange involved in something like this. And I've titled this one Lambo in Limbo. We don't know when this is going to happen, but according to the people at Bakkt, see, I'm giving you analysis. I'm not giving you some goofy predictions about Shemitah or some other nonsense. People tend to like that, though. There's a big audience or people being told something's set to skyrocket. I'm just telling you what's happening here, which is funny because some people then interpret me covering crypto as somehow promoting Bitcoin. That's a separate issue in the alt financial media. There's people who think that if you even mention crypto, then you're promoting it. Then there's others who just want to make predictions about anything. It doesn't matter. We've seen all the different analysts that used to promote and pump silver and gold. They now pump cryptos. They come up with turn dates for cryptos. They tell you their favorite cryptos. I'm not telling you any of that. I'm just telling you what's going on in this space. And I believe that makes Smaulgld channel very unique. And I'm the only one who really has significant mug sales. Everyone else puts up mugs from Teesprings. No one buys those mugs. They're not the real deal. Ask Roger Henley how his... We love Roger because he's a Smaulgld game changer himself. Truth fact. But he's not able to sell those plastic knockoffs either. It's very difficult being a mug salesman. Anyway, that's because they don't understand the real value. But here's one. Back COO says, regulators will move at their own pace while ICE backed move at a startup's pace. What they're saying is they are making their move. They are buying companies. They are probably adding other assets, different features. And the reason I know this is ICE has come out with a very, I'll show you in a second, long list of cryptocurrencies in a feed that they're now tracking. Now, they wouldn't be doing this if they weren't going to put this thing off the ground. Here's the CEO of Bakkt. He's saying, no one knows who this guy is. They say, who is this guy? Adam White. Well, he's the CEO of Bakkt. He says, we're working in true partnership with regulators to create secure market infrastructure for digital assets. Now, I have to tell you, Bakkt is not like the Winklevoss twins. Those guys, those twins, they're startups. They don't have the, and then they've managed, of course, with money, you can walk your way into the big boys club, the white shoe crowd. And they've done that in New York. They've got a BIT license, one of the few companies that have them. But these guys, Bakkt with New York Stock Exchange, Microsoft, they're part of the club. So when they call up the SEC and they want to have a sit down, they get it. And they'll get their way. Remember, the SEC is there for investor protection. But the other side of that coin is protection against what? It's protection against these guys. And these guys are not considered the enemy. They're considered the people that work with regulators their whole life. Remember, Wall Street is not some rogue entity, according to the SEC. They are an entity that they work with. They don't view them as outside the scope. It's not like barbarians trying to get regulatory approval. And that's how they might view some of these startup people, but not Van Eck, CBOE, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange. These are as inside as you can get. Now let's take a look now at that list from ICE. So ICE put, and people are not paying attention to this, ICE put out this little video here. How many people saw it? Thousands of cryptocurrencies, thousands of venues. What does it mean for crypto traders? This is essentially the owner of the New York Stock Exchange catering to crypto. So anybody who's trying to tell you they're going to quash it, they're going to shut it down, they're trying to make it as mainstream and as institutionalized as possible. That's not me pumping cryptos. That is truth and fact, as the truth community might say. Well, let's take a look here at ICE, partial owner of Bakkt. Found this on their website, launches cryptocurrency data feed. Why would they spend all this money creating a data feed? But look what's on it. It's not just Bitcoin. Check it out. You might recognize some of your favorite kerns. Some I've never heard of. Full list of cryptocurrencies included in our cryptocurrency data feed. This is going to take a few tweets, says ICE Data Services. Aleph, no idea what that is. Ardor, Augur, Cardano, the Spice Coin, I've heard of that. Basic Attention Token, I've heard of that. Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash ABC, Bitcoin Cash SV, Bitcoin Gold, even Bitcoin Gold, BitShares, Bytom, never heard of that. Cyber Miles, never heard of that either. They're covering it though. Here's some more that they have in their feed. Crypto.com, never heard of it. Dash, Decentraland, Digibyte. Those people are all over the internet pumping that coin. Dogecoin, Elastos, EOS, Ether, Ethereum Classic, Gas, Gemini Token, Huobi Token, Icon, IOS, Kyber Network, Litecoin, List, Metaverse. You get the idea. They're all here. Monero. 3 tweets they put out. They're covering all of them. They have on a data feed. Neo, Odyssey, Omis Go, Ripple, Sia Coin, Status, Steam, Dollars, Stellar, 10x, Theta Token. I know someone on this and is a big Theta Token fan. Tether, Tron, True US Dollar, Zcash. So you can see there's a lot of institutional support for this stuff. That's not pumping it. Now, if you want pumping, here's pumping. CNBC is always pumping it. This guy, what's his name? I don't even know. Who is this guy? This guy, what's his name? Kelly, Brian Kelly. He has like a crypto fund. But somehow he gets to go on CNBC and pump crypto all day. We have a massive seller network of businesses of different sizes. We would love to make Bitcoin payments as fast and efficient as transactional as possible, said none other than Jack Dorsey, CEO of Twitter. So he's fully behind and has gotten the Bitcoin Lightning Torch a couple of weeks ago. I think he got it from Elizabeth Stark, who works at Lightning Networks. And this supposedly is the way to make Bitcoin scalable, transactions faster, cheaper. And Jack is going to put it on Square. And Square is a very popular app. It has the Cash app. And as I mentioned, I had purchased $25 worth of Bitcoin about a week or two ago on the app. And I'm looking at it right now. I hope it's still there. But I did see where you can transmit that off the app, or I guess I can spend it too. I'm looking at it right now. So I got zero in cash. My $25 now worth $25.53. It's worth, it's 0.00642 whatever Bitcoin, and I purchased that a couple of weeks ago just to test it out. And they're selling. They sold $50 million worth of Bitcoin in the fourth quarter of 2018. I would suspect because they only sold 166 million all in 2018. Even if the height in the first quarter, they sold less in the first quarter of 2018 during the craze than they did at the fourth quarter at the bottom of the Bitcoin bear market. They sold more Bitcoin each succeeding quarter, each sequential quarter in 2018. I suspect they probably sold with my $25 in the first quarter. They're probably up to about 65 million. So that is a way of mass adoption, I would imagine, because I don't know how many people have the Cash app. I never had it before, but I bought it or downloaded it just to see what it's all about. But a lot of people do have it. More pumping coming from Bitcoin from none other than, never heard of this guy, Tom Lee. He's always saying, well, the Bitcoin price should be 15,000 to 20,000. Now, people say I should debate Bix Weir. In a way, there's no debate. Like, I can debate Tom Lee. He says the price should be 15,000 to 20,000. All I have to do to win that debate is show him that it isn't. That's not a debate. Trying to argue against somebody's predictions is all you're telling him is you're wrong, but you think you're right. So Tom Lee says the price should be 15,000 to 20,000. Bix Weir says the price, the gold-silver ratio should be 1-to-1. And because I don't believe that, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm this guy. When the Bitcoin, the gold-silver ratio is 85-to-1. So how can you debate that it should be 1-to-1 when it's 85-to-1? In a way, it's moronic to even think you can debate that. And it's even more moronic to insist that someone who doesn't believe in your speculation or your fantasies is somehow clueless. I don't get it. Anyway, the reason that I don't know if anybody in the comments section can understand why I put this picture here with Tom Lee saying that the Bitcoin price should be 15,000 to 20,000. Anyone want to venture a guess as to why I have this picture, and bonus points for telling me what movie it's from? I'll give you 10 seconds to tell me why I put this picture here. You know, it's a GIF, and you might see what happens to what she's holding, but I'll give you credit if you can figure out why I have a picture of this woman holding a record with a tweet that says Tom Lee believes Bitcoin price should be 15,000 to 20,000. Diane's got the movie It's a Wonderful Life. That's right. That's when Mary married. That's when Stuart left her and she was pretty pissed off about him. Anyone know? It's a Buffalo Ghost. Yes, there you go. Jack got it. It's a record. It's a broken record. Tom Lee says the same predictions all the time. Very good, Jack. Everyone got Frank Capra. Beats. You guys know your movies. All right. Maybe one night on a Saturday night, we won't do Saturday Night Silver. We'll do Saturday Night Cinema with Smaulgld. All right, Frank Capra. Let's see. What else we have here? Regulation, just an interesting point here. As a former securities lawyer, I could have told you very easily that unless they amended the definition of security, Bitcoin and Litecoin would never be considered securities. You're not buying into something where there's going to be some type of expectation of a profit based on someone doing anything. They're just out there. The code is the code, and if Bitcoin goes up, it goes up. If it goes down, it goes down. But it's got nothing to do with anyone doing anything for you. You're not turning over the reins to anybody. It's more like gold in that sense. I'm not saying Bitcoin is like gold. A lot of people like to make, I don't think it's anything like gold at all. But it's like gold in the sense that there's nobody that's going to do anything to make Bitcoin do anything for you. So it's not a security. And Ethereum was more close to a security because of the way they did the IPO, but now that it's decentralized. Anyway, they're saying now that Ethereum is not a security either. Now, some of these ICOs like Veritasium, that is more like a security. You're counting on Reggie Middleton to do what he's got to do to get the coin adopted, to get whatever it is that gives that coin value. You're expecting something to happen. Just a bit of a difference there. Now, we mentioned Backed, but there's also ErisX. Now, Backed has got the issue with not getting off the ground, but Fidelity's already off the ground. Fidelity Digital Assets already has started, I guess, in a beta form, meaning fully operational, but there's very few clients in it because they hand-selected larger institutions. They're going to roll that out a bit more. And that's been out. A lot of people are saying it's interesting that they don't. This article on CNBC says Fidelity's new cryptocurrency company is up and running despite a bear market. You see, Fidelity and Back don't care about the bear market. They know their entry into the crypto market can create a raging bull. My point about this has been for almost a year now, when the price started falling, is Wall Street wants its own bubble. This is the regulatory phase, the Wall Street phase, the Silicon Valley phase, the big money phase of the next bubble. You know, you got to remember, usually when there's a bubble and it collapses, you're left with an asset that's pretty much of no value. Worth less is a stupid concept. Worth less than what? If you think of the term worth less. So if I had $100 and now I have 90, it's worthless. No, a lot of people use the word worthless to mean zero. Worth less just means my net worth is no longer $100. It's $90. I'm not destitute because of that. I'm not down to zero. However, when a bubble bursts, what normally happens is, in traditional parlance, they say the asset becomes worthless, meaning it's gone to almost zero value. So those tulips that whatever they were paying, Dutch guilder or whatever, in nominal or translatable values into dollars, hundreds or thousands of dollars, they were worth 5 or 6 cents at the end of the bubble. Well, where people are calling Bitcoin a bubble, it's really misguided because Bitcoin is worth $70 billion after this supposed bubble collapse, not realizing that the price today is much higher than it was less than 2 years ago. It just went up a lot and it came down a lot, and it's done that 3 or 4 times in its history. And again, it's not me promoting Bitcoin, it's factual. The fact that every year the lowest low gets higher. So the lowest low in 2018 was $3,100. Before, in 2017 it was $750. This year it's like $3,400. So the idea, bubbles don't, a real bubble means it goes sky high and then it collapses and it's finished and it's done. This is more like a market cycle, and we've seen it repeat itself 3 or 4 times with Bitcoin, where it goes sky high from a relative point, collapses, and then goes sky high again, collapses, and then goes sky high again. And that's where we are right now. It's collapsed. And it's starting to move up again. I'm not even saying I'm predicting it's going to go higher. But it is, when people like to use the cliche that it's different this time. So that used to be people would say it's different this time. And then people started mocking people saying it's different this time. No, it's never different this time. Well, this time it is different this time. Because it's happened 3 times. So it is different. Normally, a bubble collapse, it bursts, and it's over. But this has burst 3 or 4 times. Okay, what else do we have in the crypto space before we move on? RSX. Now, RSX is TD Ameritrade is behind that. This guy here, this guy isn't some tech guy. This guy, he's not a tech guy. He's not a crypto guy. He's not even I'm going to say he's a nobody. He's a Wall Street guy. And here he is talking about digital asset market evolution. But the key here is this platform that's going to be launched is going to be not just Bitcoin. He was talking about physically delivered crypto assets, plural, as part of their futures platform as well. See, what Fidelity and RSX or TD Ameritrade want to do is they realize they missed out on 5 years of trading. People are trading crypto assets like they could have been trading them on Fidelity. They could have been trading them on TD Ameritrade, but they weren't. They missed all that revenue. Wall Street missed $4 billion in ICO fees in 2017. All the trading that's been done on crypto exchanges are all done by upstart companies like the Winklevoss, Gemini, Coinbase, Binance, all those companies. Fidelity realizes, look, you open up a Fidelity account, we've got trillions of dollars of assets under management. We have people trading in the trillions on their stock accounts. Just throw in the crypto stuff. We'll allow you to buy and sell it, and we'll even come up with a storage platform for you to do that so you never have to take delivery. That's what they see. They see this as a big money spinner here. And RSX here says this market would not exist without retail, and I think we talk about institutional activity because it's the next frontier. John Dieters from CBO about the crypto markets. Who's CBO? CBO is the company that just got out of the Bitcoin futures. I thought CBO was, because of that, was negative on Bitcoin. No, they're out of that because they're doing a Bitcoin ETF. This guy said this 2 days after the CBO got out of the Bitcoin futures. We talk about institutional activity because that's the next frontier. It sounds like John Kennedy. I think we talk about institutional activity because that is the next frontier. Yes, indeed. So this is another guy who is a Wall Street institutional guy, and he's talking about the next frontier. Like there's a moon launch happening or something here. Pay any price, bear any burden. All right, what else do we have? I think that's it on the crypto. Regulation, pumps, backed, RSX, Fidelity, and that's it. Yes, now market. This is very interesting here. New CNN poll. Check this out. This is CNN. Americans give U.S. economy glowing reviews in new CNN poll. Now go figure. That's pretty amazing. Over 71% of the U.S. economy is in good shape, the highest share to say so since February 2001. Wow. And the best rating of Trump's presidency by 2 points. This is a CNN poll. Now, interesting timing of this, that they're actually, I don't know, to put a poll out like this sounds like pumping Trump. I mean, here, more information. The U.S. economy is in good shape. 71% of the people say the highest number since February 2001. And Trump's approval rating is rising, too, up to 42%. Now, in other polls, he's close to 50%, but the CNN poll is obviously skewed lower. But still, 42% is very high. Check these two figures out here. The poll finds 51% approve of Trump's handling of the U.S. economy, which means, according to the CNN poll, people approve of the Trump administration, so to speak. They just don't like him. That explains the difference between his overall approval rating between 42 and 51%. Because essentially, as I think it was Carville, the campaign manager for Clinton in 1992, said, it's the economy, stupid, meaning that people vote on the economy. far less than on the personal. Trump may be an outlier there. The 51% who say they disapprove of the president's job performance overall represent the lowest share to do so in any CNN polling during his presidency. So CNN polls generally skew very much anti-Trump, and you only got 51% that are against Trump in this poll. That's the lowest ever in CNN poll. Wolf Blitzer, who normally would remain silent in the face of anything positive about Trump, says 42% of Americans approve the way of Donald Trump is handling his job, 51% disapprove, but, he says, 51% approve the way he's handling the economy, and 71% say current economic conditions are good. His base is solid. 89% of Republicans approve his job. Very interesting numbers there. I take them with a grain of salt or whatever you'd like to do, but guess what it's time for now? Yep, this one is Media Moronica. Uh-oh.
We got a moron here.
Presenting the distinguished international news commentator and foreign correspondent,
Smaulgld.
This has been an extraordinary week in world affairs.
No, I told Hillary Clinton that that's moronic.
All right. We got two Moronicas here. The first one, they both deal with CNN. Okay, so the first one is this guy. His name is Chris Cillizza. And he says, say it with me. The Steele dossier was not why the Russian probe began. The Russian probe began because George Papadee was bragging to an Australian diplomat that the Russians had dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, there's a lot of problems with this story. That's where I wrote learn to tweet. I didn't want to say learn to code because I'd get banned. So I came up with learn to tweet. I don't think I can get banned for that, but you never know. First of all, he is technically responding to Trump. That may be true. The Steele dossier was not why the Russian probe began. They could use any pretext. But according to George Papadopoulos, he was set up on this in the first place. But put that aside. The real issue is, forget why they started the probe. What's most important is not why they thought they could say, hey, let's look into Trump based on some set-up meeting with Papadopoulos. Was how did they actually get the tools to do so, to do the spying on Americans? They had to do it through the FISA warrant process, and they couldn't do it saying, hey, we heard George Papadee, some junior guy trying to get some work out of the Trump administration, having a drunken conversation with somebody, so I think we better spy on everybody. No, they had to have intelligence in a reliable form, and they had it from Christopher Steele. And Christopher Steele was a known and reliable FBI asset. So they used the Steele dossier. So I mentioned to see this guy learn to tweet. The Steele dossier was the reason to get the FISA warrant. So it's interesting. You can see CNN guy running cover for the official story when, no, if you're really going to analyze it, it was the Steele dossier. That's how they got the FISA warrant. That's how they signed off on it 4 times. Rod Rosenstein, James Comey signed off on that basis. So the only issue then is, was the FISA warrant properly issued? Was the FISA court misled? Now, if the dossier is considered to be the main reason how they got the FISA warrant, then obviously the issue is, was the Steele dossier properly verified? Were the facts surrounding its creation and who paid for it properly disclosed to the FISA court? If so, then there's your reason why they investigated Donald Trump, which would nullify this guy Cillizza's point about Papadopoulos. Had nothing to do with it. He knows he doesn't want to mention the Steele dossier because from most insider information that people have seen the Steele dossier, they say it was, Comey said, unverified and salacious. So then why did you use it for the FISA warrant? And he said, well, it wasn't just that we used. But apparently there wasn't much else in there. This will all come out. We'll all know exactly what happened. But it's interesting to see when you go back to this guy, what he's saying is he's trying to tell people what they should think. Say it with me. And that's why I say learn to tweet. Hashtag learn to tweet. Now the other Moronica, media is this little mini bombshell. Donna Brazile has joined Fox News as a contributor. If you don't know who Donna Brazile is, she was involved heavily in the Hillary Clinton campaign. And at one point, it turned out that she had delivered questions in advance, and she was also working at CNN, to Hillary Clinton. Now, you would think this would have disgraced her forever. She did a mea culpa, and she's back in there. Now she's going to get a job at Fox News. Now, I say, well, maybe now Trump can get the debate questions in advance, because, Fox is a big Trump supporter, and CNN was a big Clinton supporter, and Donna Brazile worked for CNN and funneled the questions in the debate to Hillary. Fox will probably host one of the presidential debates, and now maybe Donna at Fox has the opportunity to funnel those questions to Donald Trump. All right, now let's get to our top story of the evening. With more of our analysis. This is on student loans. Story out today. Let's give some quick background on what's been happening. So, last week we had this scandal break, this pay-to-play scandal. And basically came down to a lot of rich people, famous people or not famous people, CEOs that you never heard of, with a lot of money, working through intermediaries to tilt the scales in their favor at a bunch of pretty expensive and prestigious schools. Now, why would they do that? Because they want their child to get the best education possible? No, that's not it. What they want is they know that when you go to these top schools, you get admitted to the club. You don't get a better education. The teachers aren't any better. In fact, I would argue that the education you get at an Ivy League school in some respects is worse because the teachers are not necessarily the best pedagogues. They're not necessarily the people who can teach the best. They're the people there who may do well in research. They may write well. Or maybe they don't even write well. They just have a sinecure. And they have a job where they can write stuff. And they have some prestige, whatever it is. But they're not necessarily the best teachers. So I wouldn't say if you go to an Ivy League school that you're necessarily going to be educated better. That's not why these parents want to send their kids to these top schools. They want to send them there because they know that's their pathway to getting a job. Now, unless you're going to be doing brain surgery or operating complex equipment or doing some complicated engineering, most of the education you get in college, it doesn't really matter because they don't teach in college work skills. So, for example, you want to be a DC lobbyist or you want to work in a DC law firm, they don't really care what your grades are. If you go to Harvard, they will bring you in. Now, it doesn't mean you could be incompetent, but you don't have to be the sharpest tool in the shed. You don't have to be the most academically accomplished person to do well in life if you come from these schools. So the parents of these kids know that my kids, it's not like he or she's going to be found out when we send them to these top schools because it's not that rigorous. And then that's a fact. They pass pretty much. Most people pass. It is hard sometimes to pass the bar, but we're not talking about law school. We're just talking about getting into undergraduate school. So people who graduate from these prestigious universities, they generally get top pick of their jobs when they come out. All things considered equal, entry-level position at a decent company, they're going to hire the Ivy League kids rather than the kids who may be smarter or worked harder at another school. So there was a scandal there, and it's interesting that it's the Trump FBI or DOJ that investigated this and actually nailed this ring, and I'm sure it goes on all the time. And the reason is that it's like the price of admission. Now, what's offensive about this is a lot of people have been complaining about, I've been kicked off Facebook or they're knocking back my tweets. Most people don't make their living off of YouTube or Facebook. Now, I'm not saying that it's a good thing. That's a good thing what happens to these people because they're all part of the 1%. No, what's happening on Facebook is an entirely different, Twitter, YouTube, an entirely different thing. And it's not good what they're doing. I saw a guy named Owen Benjamin. He'd done these super chats, which I don't do on YouTube, where you can ask for money. and he asked for money in February and March, and he got money. I don't know how much he got. And I did watch some of his videos. He says some stuff I don't know he gets away with, but that's not the point. The point is YouTube is not going to give him the money. It's going to give the money back to the donors, which is a way of preventing him from making his living. But the difference here is that's one guy. This guy, Owen Benjamin, I'm not saying what they're doing to him is right, but what they're doing in the colleges is far a much larger injustice to pretty much everyone, because if your future success is going to be determined on whether you go to these schools or not, even though you're not learning any more or learning any less, and probably even less at some of these schools than you would if you went to a mid-tier school or a state school or a community college where there's really no politics involved, they are denying people or rigging the system against your ability to make a living and to have a level playing field. So Bernie's solution is, we're going to make the colleges free. Well, we're going to get to that in a second. College free still means someone has to pay for it. And it doesn't change the quality. It also doesn't even change the concept. Why should everybody go to college? The idea is that everyone should go to college because everyone needs to get a job in today's whatever economy. But the stuff they teach you in college has nothing to do with the digital age and the modern economy. If you're learning sociology, gender studies, those things you can learn on Twitter. I mean, you don't need to go to college to learn about that kind of stuff. The things that you should learn in college, if you're going to say it's because you need to get a job, are not social justice or sociology issues. They're specific skills that you may need to learn. And clearly, I know when you go to college, one of the main skills you need in many jobs is understanding how to use Excel. Well, they don't teach you that. You have to go and learn that on your own. All right, put that aside now. We had this issue, and it does highlight, and they only nailed like 35 people. You can think of probably half the kids that are in these schools shouldn't be there. They took the place of somebody else. And we're not even talking about affirmative action. We're talking about just people getting in because of who they know or some type of payoff. And we're not talking about people who get in with lower academic credentials because they want diversity. We're just talking about people who just get in because they somehow paid to get in. So basically, when you take the people that pay to get in and the diversity people, then you're wondering, are they really that concerned about academic standards and making sure that when you come out of this school, you actually can perform? But they're never called on that, because what you learn in college, no one holds you up to any standard, because generally what you do in your job has nothing to do with what you did in school. And generally, if you do go to Harvard, even if you learn nothing, you're going to do well in life anyway. So the proof is in the pudding right there. So they can basically let in anybody, because you're going to graduate and they say, oh, he's a Harvard grad, he must know what he's doing. Put it in a position, pushes some papers around, and does well. So the new thing that came out today is White House proposes caps on student loan borrowing. And the idea is the White House is presenting this, and the Congress has got this act, and they're trying to influence what might go in it. I like this, but I don't think this is the main reason they're doing it. It says White House proposes caps on student loan borrowing to prevent colleges from overcharging. And the idea there is it's for the benefit of the student. The student, if he can take out loans, $100,000, $200,000, whatever it is, if you limited the amount of loans that person could take out, they wouldn't be in debt $100,000. They'd only be in debt $75,000 if you cap it at $75,000. So they, instead of working 12 years to pay it off, 20 years to pay it off, they only have to work 12 years. I like the idea if you put a cap on student loan borrowing, only because the federal government is guaranteeing it. So it also does help the federal government that they don't put out all these loans that they can never collect on. The real key is the federal government shouldn't guarantee any of these loans. Not because it makes the kids have to borrow more money than they can possibly pay back. Not because it means that the government won't get the money back. But the other side of the equation is where I want to focus. When you allow students to borrow, as much as they can, what do you think the school is going to do? Raise tuition. Why? Because they can. Because the government is effectively subsidizing through the student loan the ability of the student to pay more. Now, does that mean that the college gets any better? Absolutely not. Oh, they do more research, and they know they don't. There's no more coming out of the universities. I was looking at the Harvard budget. Let me show you this. This is outrageous. All right. I got the oh. You know, I did a chart, and where did it go? I did a great chart. Hold on, I'll find it for you. What the chart shows is the endowment levels. Don't tell me. There you are. Okay. Let's see. Harvard, $37 billion endowment. Not only do they have a 37, they on their balance sheet, they have like $45 billion in assets. If you look at their financials, it's not about operating a business, meaning, well, we have 5,000 students and we charge them $46,000 a year. We pay our teachers this, and you know that's how the business works, and we make a profit. No, it's an investment company. They have $46 billion. Now, why do they have to charge $46,000 a year? Remember, you put a teacher, Elizabeth Warren, you pay her $250,000. She teaches a class here or there. Why do you have to pay her $250,000? You can't find a good teacher for less than $250,000. I'm not saying that teachers shouldn't be paid, but when somebody gets $250,000 to teach a class here and there, that's a little overpriced, especially given that not anyone can do it, but there are people that can teach whatever she taught, I'm sure. $46,000. Now, this is the post office model. If you're in a business and you want to make more money, your worst option is, well, I'll just charge more. So I have a pizzeria. Let's say I have a pizzeria. And I'm barely breaking even, and I'm charging $15 a pie. And I realize to make the kind of money that I want to make, so this guy can buy whatever I want, I got to charge $50 a pizza. I'm like, well, that works. I do all the math. I write it all out. $50. And then the next day, I change all the neon signs, and I say it's $50. Pizza, it's $9 a slice. And no one shows up. Of course not. But that's what Harvard does. Why? Now imagine if they had a government subsidy for your pizza. Just pizza, no other food. Well, people would come in and you could borrow money to buy pizza. I'd charge $100 a pie. And I'd get it. Why? People figure they need pizza. The government's paying for it. So go to this guy pizza and go get your pizza. And I'll print it out $100. And if I don't have enough Lambos, I'll make it $125 a pie. Forget about it. All right, so look at this. Harvard, $37 billion. Yale, 20. These are generalized numbers. I don't want to copy U.S. News and World Report's precise numbers. The tuition numbers I pulled off of the university websites. Those aren't U.S. News and World Report numbers. These are just generalized numbers, but you get the idea. Yale, they got this is how much money these universities have. Now, if you have all that money, you would think that, I don't know what they have it for. It's not like they couldn't if they only had $20 billion. So one of the things that they do, if you look at their financial statements, is when they give out scholarships. I can't quite figure out on their financials, but I'm sure what they do is they don't give out the scholarship based on the cost of educating that student that goes for free. They give out that scholarship as if it cost them $46,300. And you know it doesn't. They charge you $46,000 to go. But when they give a free scholarship, they put that down, I'm sure, at $46,000, like they're giving away $46,000. Now, that may be the fair market value, but it's not a fair market value. It's an inflated value that they get because they're getting money from the government and they're getting money from students who've borrowed that money. It's unbelievable how they get away with this, and the fact that it's like a lottery ticket going to this school. So you will borrow as much as you can to go to Harvard. Why? You just go there, you don't do anything, you come out, and you get a good job. Doesn't matter. Pretty much anyone who goes to these schools honor Yale, Stanford, Princeton, UPenn. I'm not sure. Maybe not Notre Dame. You might have to hustle a bit there. But most of these schools, they just have a large endowment. But these aren't necessarily the top schools, although most of Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Princeton, they pretty much are. MIT. Now, MIT is one place where you probably can't get away with, like, saying, oh, I want to get in on a cruise scholarship, and then they show you the calculus, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with, like, all these numbers? So MIT, you probably can't get away with really not having the chops, the academic chops to succeed. But you go to these pass-fail schools, I'm sure you can do quite all right. So what else is going on with this is that they want to put a cap on it, but I don't think that's the solution, because all that's going to happen is it may slow the price of tuition, but the cat's already out of that bag. We don't want the price increases to slow. We want the prices to come down, and I want competition for two things. Competition between the universities for students, and I want the price to come down, and I want the students to compete to get in, but not to compete to get in by having their parents or somebody pay for them to get in. That's not the same thing, because this is actually not just a societal issue as to who gets in and who doesn't. It's actually a meritocracy issue. If you have people who really, you're dropping the standard of the school and the standard of the student, which means that you're not going to get the best scientists in every field. You're not going to get the best because they're not going to be academically challenged, because some of the students will be there that shouldn't be there. They're only there because they got paid to be in there, or they're in some program. So they're not competing against other students. And then you may not even get the better students that should be in that place in there competing and doing well. And so the whole system is challenging and is not at the level that it should be as a result of these kind of shenanigans. And not only that, it's costing more money. And it's going to cost the government money, because the government's guaranteeing this nonsense. So that means the taxpayers pay for it if the student can't pay. And that means the universities are just getting rich, but they're not getting better. So you would think, in my example, let's go back to this guy's pizza parlor. My pizza's not going to get any better. I might have no interest in making it any better. I'm not going to come up with thin crust, gluten-free, Chicago style. Why would I? I get $150 a pie, fully subsidized. Well, how do you think these universities are going to be? You don't have competition. They can raise the price whenever they want, and then they can let in whoever they want. Doesn't matter. So you don't have quality education as a result of this. Making it free isn't going to help either. What's going to make it free is remove the subsidies, keep the standards, and the better students will go to these schools. They're the ones who are going to cure cancer. They're the ones who are going to come up with engineering feats. That's what you need. Now, apparently, I'm no fan of China, but from what I understand, they claim that in order to get, because everything that's good in China is a government position, in order to get those positions, you have to be the best in your field, all through this rigorous standardized testing. So you don't have to be the son of somebody rich. You have to actually know what you're doing. You have to actually be the best math student, the best science student. You have to, economics, whatever it is, you have to really put your nose to the grindstone and figure out how to be the best. Here, as we've seen, you don't have to figure out how to be the best. You have to figure out how to get in. And then the rest is done for you. So these prices that you're seeing are ridiculous, because that's just the price of the tuition. The prices don't include books, room and board, fees, all types of stuff. And you're talking about adding $10,000 to $20,000 extra onto these numbers. So you're talking, $70,000 a year, and you'd gladly pay it if you can get in. As I said, you can raise this to $100,000, and they'll pay it. Does the school get any better? No way. Just like in my pizza, it's not going to get any better. It's going to be the same. It's costing everyone. It's a wealth transfer to the schools. It's costing the government money. It's costing students who don't get in because these other kids get in. It's costing the entire society because you don't have the best education as a result of this. This is a much bigger problem, as far as I can tell, than people getting booted off Facebook and Twitter for speech violations. Not that that is a good thing. And it's just that that's what people are concerned about. They're concerned about freedom of speech. I think that's a problem. But this is about actually freedom of your entire economic livelihood and the quality of society. Because if universities are supposed to turn out leaders, turn out advanced scientists, turn out the best in every field, this system is not doing it. It's not designed to do it. It may, as a result, still do it, living off its legacy, but this can't go on like this. Well, let me know what you think. Those are my views on this. I think that this is an outrage that people pay to get into the schools. They don't have to be the best students. And then they charge whatever they want. The government pays for it. The kids can't pay it back. And it gets even worse. Think about this. What if you're not in these top 10, 20, 30 schools and you just go to the middle of the road school? They charge just about the same price. Now you're really screwed because you go to this school. Let's just call it this guy university. You go to this guy university in Nebraska and you pay $21,000 a year, and you come out from this guy university and no one cares that you went to that university because this guy went and that guy went. Everyone went to either this guy university or that guy university. So you can't get a job, but you still owe $80,000. And it shouldn't cost you $80,000. Why does it cost $20,000 to go to this guy university when it only costs $39,000 to go to UPenn or $49,000 to go to Stanford? Because you can borrow the money to do it. You say, look, I want to go to this guy university. And they say, okay, and they lend you the money. So a cap is going to help keep the prices where they are. But it's not going to lower them. And they're encouraging everyone to go to university to the point where everyone's going to go to something like this guy university. All right, guys, let's see what you all are saying in the comments. This guy. All right. Ann is here. Chris is here. Everyone's here. Hope you guys got your shirts. For those of you just joining, public service announcement. Smaulgld, this guy mugs are half price tonight only. If you forgot about the announcement at the beginning of the show, you think, yeah, I'm going to get one of these this guy mugs, and you forgot, here it is. There's your link. Go to the Smaulgld store and get yourself a this guy mug. All right. Half price, like under $10. Not government subsidized either. Coming to an area near you. And let me put up the donation stuff here too. And it just amazes me how many people follow some of these channels. I was looking, I think JSnip has over 1,000 patrons or some ridiculous number. What do they pay them for? I don't understand. Okay, but I'm going to leave you to each his own. It's a free market, right? You want to pay people, you pay them. Which I encourage you to do so if you like the Smaulgld style and channel and analysis. There it is. Buy mugs and checks, monies, lawyers, guns and money, Patreon, PayPal, Bitcoin, Litecoin. All your options are there. I do appreciate it. All right. Hello, this guy fan says coins A to Z. Let's see. Here's a coin. Oh my goodness. Crypto pumpers aren't as nutty as silver pumper, says coins A to Z. The only reason they're not, actually they are. A pumper is a pumper. The only reason that crypto pumpers aren't as nutty as gold and silver pumpers is they can point to a couple of successes, like Bitcoin going from $800 to $20,000. Doesn't make them any smarter or any less pumpy. It's just that you think that they have credibility because they, quote, predicted it. These guys. Who are these guys, says Coins? Lewis can tell his folks I'm that guy, yes. And if you buy one of these shirts, you can be that guy too. Gotta wonder. Higher education not worth the payoff for most, says Shepard. I think today, the only higher education that's worth is the one, not that the education is worth a dime, is the Harvard, Princeton, Yale, all the top schools. Not that you're going to get any better educated there, but you're going to be viewed by the world like somehow you know something. Oh, you went to Harvard, you must know something. He knows that his dad paid for him to get in there. All right. Now that's not 100% true. There are people, obviously, who go to Harvard, and there's probably the vast majority of them, that know what they're doing. Top students, they're best in their class, but there's definitely a watering down of that for sure. All right, let's see. What else we got here? I have some Doge, says Ann. Pump up the jam. What is Dogecoin? You guys are having a little conversation here about coins. Ann says, waste of time debating Bix Weird. It actually is. It's not a debate. Well, how can you debate his own fantasies? I think silver should be 1-to-1. No, it shouldn't. Well, I think you're wrong. I think you're clueless. No, I'm not. I mean, what can you say? If somebody believes something, they believe it. You can't debate a belief system. You can only point out that it's not reality. It's your belief system. All right, what else do we have here? All right. Good point, Jack. Great point, Smaulgld. I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's all right. I'm sure it was a good point that I made at some point. Mugs are bought digital. All right, what else do we have here? Pay off student debt. Pablo. Powell would be holding a this guy mug at his next meeting. This guy. Joke Mundor. Finally caught a live stream. Thanks for the info and keep me grounded while other channels try to send me to the moon. LOL. Well, that's the point of the channel. But what's very telling, Bix Weird puts out a video that basically says nothing except this guy is clueless. This guy is clueless. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Silver should be 1-to-1. And like 10,000 people watch it. And he's not saying anything. Now he's talking about, I forgot. You know, I wrote down yesterday, I had given it to Seamus. And it's over here. If you think about what he said last night, 2 days ago, when he was telling me I'm clueless because I don't believe that the gold-silver ratio should be 1-to-1. He was talking about how the central banks and countries don't buy it because if they did, they get blown out of the water, and then they would know, and it's the linchpin of the fiat monetary system. Just word salad, makes no sense whatsoever, and that gets 10,000 views. When I gave a reasoned analysis of why the gold-silver ratio is at 85-to-1 based on the current demand profile, which includes, a point he made, that central banks and countries do not buy it, but not because, yeah, this is what he says. This gets you 10,000 views. Look, this guy, he doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. He's myopic, this guy. He says that central banks aren't interested in silver. Never said that. It's quite the opposite, says Bix Weir. They are interested in keeping the price down because they know storing silver as a store of value would get immediately them blown off the face of the planet. Reason is, silver is the keystone to running the unbacked monetary system. Comma. Lewis, you should know this. He just doesn't get it. Shaking my head. 10,000 views for that analysis. And then the people watching it going, yeah, you tell him. He doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that silver's going to the moon. I heard Seamus last night. He was like, these people, they don't understand what the hell they're talking about. I wish Seamus was here right now. Well, he's gonna come back and give them his piece of their mind. All right, everyone. I think we're done here. All the muggers are here. Oh, does listing of cryptos on Fidelity's TD Ameritrade necessarily equate to higher values? Asked DBC. Possibly. Well, here's why. I mean, you can never predict anything. If you are selling this guy pizza, right? And currently, this guy pizza, even though it's subsidized, I make a lot of money. It's not available at Walmart or Costco. So one would have to imagine that if this guy pizza could get distribution at Costco and Walmart, I might sell more pizza. Idea being, DBC 7772011 does listing cryptos on Fidelity, DT, Ameritrade, etc. necessarily equate to higher values. It's a two-step process. They'll definitely be able to sell more of it. Will that mean higher prices? Most likely it should. Seth says, I would presume so, DBC. Ann says, not necessarily. Yes. But there's a lot of issues there, but it's not price negative for sure. It's not dispositive that they're going to be listed there, but I would think the more attention, probably the better for the price. All right. Let's see, what else do we have here? Coins AZ. What if you're doing silver pumping? Do you need a degree? I don't know. Silver pumping's a delicate balance between truth and BS, says Jack. I don't know. I think it's cherry-picked facts. See, a lot of people, what they do is they think their point of view is truth because they think what the other person's saying is false. It's not. It's neither. It's a point of view. George W. Bush, Yale and Harvard. The guy can barely speak. What about George? Yeah, 1,000 points of light. Wouldn't trust it. Can't do it. Wouldn't be prudent. He speaks in sentence fragments. He went to Yale. You would think he'd at least speak in half paragraphs. He spoke in sentence fragments. Skull and Bowls. Kerry, there's another one. Not impressed with that intellect either. Bernie wants free college for people who want a degree in petunia coloring.
That's right, because if the 1% can get the degrees, then we can get the degrees in the petunias. The 1%.
His wife runs a college. How can you lose money in a college when you have guaranteed admission students who can pay whatever you want to charge? It's like better than running a bank. The alternative to college would be a trade school. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Trade schools are good to develop skills. Guys are talking about genders. Welding in New York City. There's no trade school for that. Yeah. Well, welding, plumbing, electricians, all very highly required demand for skills, and they're not the same as just mowing a lawn. You can't just, well, I'll just go be a welder. No, you can't. I'll just go plumb. No, you can't. Well, I'll just go fix the lights. No, you can't. You have to have a highly skilled trade in that. DBC, great stuff tonight, Lewis. I mean, this guy. I am this guy. All right. Pablo Pina, I learned in Chile the house construction is all engineered for earthquakes. We hired a guy younger than me, and I learned from him to weld. All right, Pablo Pina. That's Pina. You know, Pina is pineapple in Chilean. All right. You guys are talking gender. I don't get into that. Obama al-Qasim, Muhammad Ibn. Too many people who shouldn't be in college are in college, and it lowers the standards. That's right. Absolutely. I mean, the idea that everyone should go to college means everyone should be a scholar. Because college is higher education, and not everyone is a scholar. Not everyone shouldn't be a scholar. That's like saying everyone should be a plumber, everyone should be an electrician, everyone should be a welder, everyone should be a mathematician. No. College is supposed to be for people who have a specific academic interest or scientific interest in a particular field of study for which they're suited. 95 to 99% of people are not suited for higher fields of academia. Just like 90% of people probably aren't suited to be plumbers, welders. They either can't do it, physically can't do it, don't have the spatial skill. They don't know how to, they're not adept. Naturally, they're better off doing something else. But somehow, everyone's supposed to go to college. Most people that graduate high school don't know academics. That doesn't mean they're not smart. Doesn't mean they don't understand other stuff. It just means they're not good at sitting in a classroom, listening to a professor babble on about something, taking notes, and then writing it back on an essay, and then getting stuff published. How many people do you know actually can publish an academic paper? Very few. And those that can, they become your scholars. They're the ones that become the PhDs, and more power to them. They write books, political tracts, they write history books. These people that go to, these guys that go to Harvard, even for history, how many historians are you getting out of that? That's just what they take as a major. I mean, how many, forget Harvard. Maybe Harvard does generate a decent number of historians. But of the thousands of schools, the people that take history, they're learning it because they learn it. You can learn history without going to college. You know, if anyone's really interested in learning anything just because they want to learn something, take the great courses. And don't even buy the courses. There's a thing called Great Courses Plus. You pay like $10, $14 a month. There are thousands of courses on everything. And you can educate yourself if that's what you want to do. All right. What else do we have here? People are going 60 to 100K in debt, says Abul Muhammad, into debt just to get a cake major degree that has no value. Absolutely. Well, then Philip says it's socialist indoctrination. You know, I don't call it a liberal arts degree. I call it a leftist degree. Liberal arts is okay. It's not liberal arts. Most of the stuff you learn there, I don't know. It doesn't help you when you're... As I say, you can learn it on Twitter and Facebook. You don't need to go to college for that. Chrono Trigger fan. Yeah, he went to University of Michigan. He calls it a blank school. All right. A lot of comments here. Should I stay? I'll stay another 10 minutes. Wow, lots of truth flying around. All right, Pablo. These guys don't complain when Treasury Fed pump up bottom-tier educations through astronomical prices, but they complain when a Full House star's daughter pays their way in. Yeah, that's the point I did make, that it's even worse when you go to a middling or low-tier school and you pay all that money. It's even worth less than... Again, you can learn nothing at this guy college and you can learn nothing at Harvard. You're far better off learning nothing at Harvard and paying $46,000 than paying $22,000 at this guy school and learning nothing. You're even better off learning a lot at Harvard. No, you're even better off learning nothing at Harvard for $46,000 than learning a lot for $22,000 at this guy university. Barbara Carbone is here. All right. Chrono Trigger fan. 95% of the faculty identify as a liberal. That is true. Jay Snip. Patrons went to college. Yeah. A lot of great comments. I'm not going to call them all out. I am reading them, and I will read them. Yeah. Muhammad says even lawyers will be replaced by computers. A lot of things will be. All right. Pump, pump, pump. A lot of comments on pumpers. All right. New York accounting firms hiring graduates from certain colleges. My daughter secured a job with Ernst & Young's. Never would have without her degree from St. John's. Yeah, but St. John's is actually a good working school. Meaning, it has a reputation that they teach. So there are... See, first of all, okay, accounting is different, Barbara. You can't have this guy doing your accounting. You actually have to have the rigors of accounting. It's not like gender studies or, I don't know, any of the liberal arts. Accounting, you actually have to be good and you have to be precise. And St. John's has a reputation for turning out good working graduates, not necessarily considered scholars that are going to be in the Wall Street, whatever, the elite nonsense journals, but it has a reputation of turning out graduates that can get the job done. And that's what, if you're going to say you need to go to college to get the job done, yeah, then go to college. But liberal arts, you don't need liberal arts to get the job done. As I mentioned, it's actually an outrage that you pay more money when the distribution of education is cheaper than ever before, and they still charge so much money for the textbooks. It's outrageous because the cost of delivering the information because of the digital age is much less, and yet they charge you more. Doesn't make any sense. It makes a good point. The fact that so many people watch these channels confirms we are becoming dumber. Yeah, what should the silver to mug ratio be? I don't know. But a lot of people, you got to start stacking mugs. You can't just buy one mug. If you're going to stack silver, you should stack mugs too. Buy a mug, get a hug, says Philip. That's a good one. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Mark, Mint SI, Switzerland is buying Apple stock. That is all I need to know. Yeah, I did a couple of reports on this 2 years ago on all the different stocks that Apple buy, that Switzerland buys. Unbelievable. They print money and they buy crap. All right, I think that's about. It's not about it. We've got a lot more. Barbara says, that's right, Small. Not everybody's meant for college. The importance of college education is overrated. It should stop. Absolutely. The only way it's going to stop is not by capping the amount that people can borrow, because the price will just stay where they are. The price has to come down, and the competition to get in has to go up, and then people have to realize it ain't for me. I'm not doing it. And then they have to realize, and the market has to provide people with trade schools if you're better suited to plumbing, electrician, whatever it is, whatever your field of interest or abilities are, that's what they should help you. But not everybody should be learning about Da Vinci. There's no point in it. Learn about them, hear about them, but I'm talking about reading text of Augustine. I mean, you could read it if you want. You could be a plumber, and you could be more educated than someone who goes to Harvard if you want. But the idea that somehow going to college helps you in your job, it doesn't. Going to Harvard helps you in your job just because they have all the good positions and they hire other people from Harvard. All right. Well, that's about it for tonight. I want to thank you. And again, remind you, I'll leave you the link. Get the half price. You're going to regret if you don't get This Guy mug tonight. The link is there. It's below this video. It's in the sidebar. It will not be there tomorrow, 50% off. This Guy's shirt is 15% off, but I believe that special will last through tomorrow. So I want to thank everyone for joining me tonight. I know we've got a nice, small, tight group of about 20, 30 people every night. And again, if you do like the show and you can't donate, tell a friend who's like-minded. I don't mean who agrees with you, but somebody who wants to hear real analysis and not pie-in-the-sky nonsense that tells you whatever asset you happen to have just purchased because you heard some idiot on YouTube tell you to buy it, that it's going to go higher. Because that's what people do. They buy an asset, then they look for other channels that tell them, oh, it's a good thing that you bought. It's a good thing. So if you bought this silver, it's a good thing. And then they want to hear 20 other channels, and then they want to say, see, 20 people told me it's a good thing. I got my confirmation bias. If you know people that don't think that way, and a lot of people, that's your natural way of thinking, send them to this channel, and I won't set them straight, but I'll at least give them something to think about. Thank you very much. Later, guys, gals, and whatever other gender you might happen to be. I don't mind. People want to self-identify, let them have at it. I'm not opposed to that. I will call anyone what they wish to be called. But you can only call me This Guy or Smaulgld. Otherwise, I'll have you arrested.